Good evening. Here we go. Preparing Facebook and Periscope Live. Yes, Facebook and Periscope Live. One thing I don't like about these broadcasts is you look way different than you do in person. So I am here, day 2. Thank you everybody for joining. And I have some really good stuff I have prepared for you today. I am Aria Craig. I title myself Empowerment and Leadership Strategist. My target audience will be moms, in particular single, divorced, and blended moms, but every mom in particular. What I do is I help them go towards the next level of success in the 3 most important aspects of their lives, which are parenting, careers, and relationships. So I have Facebook Live over here, and I have Periscope over here. I'm going to be pivoting between the 2 broadcasts, but this is a really good one, so I hope everybody that joins, if you can share, get your friends and family, especially those who are in certain levels in their careers and they're ready to go to the next level of leadership. So share, post, put your comments in the suggestion box down there, the post box down there. And we are going to be ready to rock and roll in another minute or 2 because I want to give people the opportunity. Hey, Alvita! I want to give everybody the opportunity, those who really want to see this broadcast. And of course, you can always go back and watch the replay. Oh, thank you. Go back and watch the replay because, again, you're going to want to have pen and paper here. So if I go too fast, I talk really fast, I apologize. All you have to do is just go back to the replay because I'm kind of pivoting between 2 broadcasts and I want to be able to share the information in a short amount of time because I am competing with people's time. I want to let you all know also that I am trying to work with, I have AT&T and the signal out here where I am is really bad, and I actually called them last Thursday for them to send me another device. And I called them again on Monday because when they sent it, they sent the wrong one. So I hope that, if anything happens, I'm going to have to log out, go on to Facebook Live, and then do the broadcast again from Periscope. I'm going to have to do them at 2 separate times, which I don't want to do. But I want to do that because if I have to, I will, because there's so much information that I really want to share with you all that's very important. So just going to give people a couple of more just another more minute, 1 more minute to join, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. So again, invite your friends and keep sending out hearts and all types of love, thumbs up, things of that sort, but invite your friends to join in today, those who you know are stuck and stagnated in their job opportunities, because this is going to be a good one that you guys want to write down for your 2017 goals with moving forward to the next level of leadership in corporate America. I always talk about entrepreneurship. I've done both. And at one time I was doing both. I was an entrepreneur, and I was in corporate America. I shifted over to just being an entrepreneur for after losing my job after I went on short-term illness, which was no intention of mine, but after learning that the short-term illness was because of the stress that I was enduring in corporate America. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put my code in at the same time because I need to give you guys a link at the end with my laptop. So I got like 3 different devices going at one time. But anyway, just want to say good evening to everyone and welcome to day 2, which is all about careers. How high do you want to go? 3 impressive promotion-worthy strategies to receiving your next promotion. So I want to also, again, thank everybody that's joining me on Periscope, on Facebook Live, as we move forward with the broadcast. So before I get started, I wanted you all to, during the session, post your comments and your ideas, your feedback, so I can know how to make this a valuable broadcast in the future. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. So just to let you guys know, I said this on yesterday at the beginning before I went into my tips, there are a few reasons why I decided to do the masterclass. So one reason being because I have experienced all of these things as a parent, as an entrepreneur, business owner in corporate America, and as a wife. Now that I'm a blended mom, because I was married when my son was 12. I got married when my son was 12 years old. So I was a single mother for 12 years, and then got married, been married for 5 years. My son is now, hi Erica, my son is now 17. So when I am sitting on panels or discussions for in a group of single moms or divorced moms or blended moms, because those are mostly, like I said, that's my target audience, but any mom can benefit from the lessons that I provide, the information I give, the strategies that I develop, and my books, as I'm working on the second one right now, who my business coach, hopefully, she said that she agreed to it, is going to do the forward for my book. So the second book is going to be based off of everything that I'm talking about now, which is leadership in corporate America. And the second part of it is going to be on building your business as an entrepreneur. So another thing is that when I'm talking to these crowds, there's something that I'm saying that resonates with people, because I always get people stopping me after I'm speaking that want to talk to me personally afterwards and share their story, and maybe, me offer them tips. I did share yesterday, I had a lady that came up to me after one event. I didn't speak at it, but I was present at the event. And we had I don't know what to call it, a circumstance that happened to where I became the point of discussion. Like, I was put on the spot. So, and I wasn't expecting it. So at the end, this lady came to me and she gave me a hug, and she was crying. And she was saying that she really thanked God for that part of, because we were there for like 2.5 hours, and like the last 5 minutes had to do with me. And she was like, if it wasn't for that, because she was struggling with some things in her life, and that really resonated with me in a certain kind of way, because I feel that. I've lived that, I've done that, and I could possibly help others persevere and overcome through that, because we all have one life to live. You don't want to be stuck in a rut and challenges for the rest of your life. You want to learn those lessons and understand how to overcome them. Also, I want to dispel any stigmas. Our stigmas and our fears that we have as single, divorced, and blended parents is insane. I did research when I was trying to come up. I actually created a course, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And part of my promotion was to go and do some research on statistics. And I really wanted to do statistics because my brand is more so targeting ambitious moms, like people who know that they want to go to that next level of success. I don't really want to, because I'm just too excited about that, and I am a very determined person. I can't really work with a person who they're just stagnated and they're just comfortable with where they are, and they just want to go, day in, day out doing the same mundane things. That's not what I am. That's not who I'm about, and I cannot really support that type of audience. So I'm really more so into breaking those stigmas, breaking those fears, moving into your next level of success, and to build confidence. I can tell you, a lot of you all, a lot of people that's on my Facebook page will tell you, I never used to be this way. I used to be very introverted. I was never a person that would go in and hold conversations and talk and be assertive, or even at times be aggressive, even though, I am one of those where I ain't no punk. But at the same time, I was never a person who spoke on topics or gave my 2 cents in a conversation at school or at work. I was very quiet. So I had to learn how to come out of this shell, break out of this shell, to let people know to understand that I have something that people can find of value, that people can use in their lives. And it took me a while to understand that, but it was more so, again, about building confidence. I had to build confidence in myself before I could build it in my son. So the other thing was, the last part is that I wanted to create a movement for these moms, for these moms that are very particular about creating a certain life for themselves, certain levels of success that they want to achieve, even as of right now, knowing that once they're getting close to that achievement, they're already setting new goals. They're already working towards achieving new levels of betterment in their lives. So that being said, I want to go ahead and get started with the lessons for today. Again, how high do you want to go? 3 impressive promotion-worthy strategies. So let's get started. One of the things, there are 3, actually, like I said, 3 strategies that I want to focus on. And the first one actually is multi-layered. So the first one would be to talk directly to your supervisor about these 3 things. And I want you to have a pen and paper ready to write down their responses. Once you're ready to talk to your supervisor, it could be tomorrow, it could be the day after that you go back to work after the new year, and you're just, trying to get your head wrapped around what you're going to say over the next couple of weeks. When you go in and you talk to your supervisor, have a pen and paper ready to write down her response, his or her response. I'm going to say her for the sake of right now. Okay, the first thing is, you want to let your supervisor know that you want more challenging assignments that involve critical thinking. If you have a desk level position, then this proves that you're interested in a leadership role. Leadership roles require critical thinking and problem solving, which actually brings me to my second point, but I'll get there in a couple of seconds. If you're already a manager or supervisor, then you're well aware of this. So for senior managers and executive level employees, this is something that you can share with your employees or your staff that report to you. The second point under the first strategy is, what problems do you think that you can ask your supervisor that need to be solved in the department that you can help out? So it's going to talk to your manager about the leadership roles that you have in terms of the leadership roles that you want to be in terms of what challenging assignments can you take on in your current role that can lead to them looking at you more for leadership roles. And the second one is, what problems need to be solved within the department right now? Because your boss, your manager, they're having side conversations from an operational perspective. So there are some things that you guys don't know that get filtered down. They're having conversations with other managers, senior executives, senior managers that are basically around problem solving, the direction that the company is going to go in. Once they filter it down to your manager, it's more, okay, here are the tasks assigned with that problem that your department needs to handle, and what are the results that we are expecting. So you want to ask them, what problems does your department need solved that you can help out with? Make sure that these problems have deadlines that are attached, and I'll explain more about that a little bit later. So the next thing is, you also need to, what you want to do is you want to know what you need to do, to move into that next leadership role. So that could be as far as, I know for me, when I was working at the last company, I already had a degree. I had a master's degree. So it was more so taking certain cohorts, because the company offered cohort classes and programs like 10 weeks, 5 weeks, that were more so structured around leadership. So it could be something as simple as, what you need to do to the next leadership is get your degree or get a certificate or certification, which is a difference between a certificate and a certification. Shadowing someone who is in a higher leadership role, like the very next leadership role from what yours is. Even if you have a desk level position, you could shadow someone who is maybe a leader, and then you have a supervisor, because you can have a department that's structured where you have desk level employees, and then you have a leader, and then both of you report to a supervisor, which is how that was for the last company that I worked for. So you can also ask the leader, can I shadow you with some of the things that you do? Hopefully they won't be intimidated thinking that you're trying to steal their job, but sometimes they can show you some things that they do to help manage whatever it is that they're doing as far as their roles are concerned. You want to, again, like I said, shadow somebody who's in the next leadership role, or take advantage of some emotional intelligence or behavioral psychology classes. So those are that's offered by your company, by the way, because if you do it that's offered by your company, then they will be able to pay for it if there is a charge, and they'll see that once you are done with it. Sometimes they offer certificate, certificates of completion. I know the last company that I worked for, once you finish that cohort, they gave you a certificate of completion for your file and also for your supervisor's file. So they know that you are you're highly interested in moving to that next level. So also make sure to check in with your supervisor quarterly, at the very least, with the status on these assignments that they've given you, or these cohorts, or whatever their suggestions were to help you in those leadership efforts. So about 75% of managing others deal with handling different attitudes, behaviors, and cultural values. Diversity, leadership, and organizational behavioral training is a must to understand what drives employees' decisions. So from meeting goals and empowering employees to making decisions, micro and macro managing, and employee retention. The second thing is implement those problem solving skills. Once you have figured out, so this is number 2, once you have figured out what you can take away from your discussion with the first person. Oh, thank you, Erica. So you know what I'm talking about. So after, and the third point, I'm going to say this, and if you could share this, Erica, that would be great. The third point I'm going to say is really juicy and is very effective. But going to the second point, implement those problem-solving skills. So help out with critical projects and deadlines. And if your department doesn't, and that even includes other departments, because you might have a department that is interdependent on your department. And say, for instance, you go to your manager and she says, well, we don't really have anything at the moment. You know, we have some things coming down the pipeline, but right now we're still working on some things. You know, ask her, who do you know in the next department who's interdependent on you needs help. For instance, I worked in financial operations at the last company. There were a lot of departments within financial operations that made up that overall division. So all the areas within financial operations were interdependent of each other. So if I had time on my hands and I wanted to do something to keep myself busy, besides, if I took a lot of cohort classes just to keep myself busy, but sometimes you kind of get a little bit burnt out with those. So you might want to go to a different department and say, hey, do you have anything that you need help with? That being said, if your department doesn't have anything currently in the pipeline, then help out another department that's interdependent of your area. Make yourself available when needed to make sure expectations are exceeded with the results. Now, I was a project manager, consultant actually, in financial operations for, like I said, a well-known healthcare conglomerate. And so I know I did that for several years. So I know how to be detailed oriented, problem solve, building strategies, and meeting deadlines. That's pretty much, that comes natural for me. So this will be a great opportunity, if there is not anything in the pipeline, to create a project. Create a project to solve a problem. So again, go to your boss and say, you know what, I know you guys don't have anything in the pipeline right now. They might not be aware of something that you can do that could streamline the process and make things easier for them, especially if it's a process to where it is very manual. If you know a way to streamline the process, your managers will love to hear that. So come to them with ideas and strategies on how you think that problem could be solved using the least amount of resources. So you want to use the least amount of people, because the more resources that you have, including time, the more resources that you use, that equates to money. And one of the initiatives of all companies is to make sure that they are finding ways to save money. So that being said, you want to go to this in a nice little package to your supervisor to get her buy-in, his or her buy-in. So then you take the lead on that project and ask your supervisor for resources to help with that initiative. So make sure you write down everything that you've done along the way and track results of your labor. If you are working with other supervisors or managers or anybody else to make sure that this project is going smoothly, you want to make sure that you get their feedback and their compliments in writing. And I'll tell you why now. The third strategy is you want to make sure that you discuss this, bring this to your supervisor at the time of your next performance review. So now your timing should be somewhere around 9 months to a year from the discussion that you had that I mentioned in number 1. So you want to speak to your to someone in human resources too, just to see if that's a good idea to do around that time. But mainly around if it's been enough time between the first performance review and your current performance review. Normally that's a year. So you have about a good year's time to do all of this stuff. And I mean consistently, not just do one project or take on one challenging assignment or stay late one time to help one department out. This is something that you need to be doing consistently, because these are things that your supervisor values, what they should value, and they should see in you that you have what it takes to move to that next level. So with your body of work and diligence, monitor and track the results of over the next few months, mainly, like I said, the next maybe within a year's period of time. So when your next performance review comes, you're ready to show all of your efforts that you did to help the department and the company meet its goals. Make sure to quantify each task, each thing that you did, each project, each assignment. For instance, your project that you implemented, that you came to your supervisor about in the first quarter of 2016, helped to increase sales by 20% within the last 3 quarters of the year. You helped this department exceed their quota. Whatever department that you helped exceed their quota by more than 30% each month. So those are some examples. When I say a quota, I'm just giving you another example, just how that relates. When I was helping another department, they had to have a lot of sign-offs on a particular desk level task. So I went in and I helped, and they had to have so many in. I can't remember if it was per day or if it was per week. They had to have so many in by a specific period of time. I went in and I helped. I even took some home and reviewed them. So took some homes. I made sure I had everything, private, to where nobody can read what I was doing on the train or read it at home. And I made sure I helped her because they were really behind with all the work that they had. I took it home, took care of it, and I brought it to her the next day. She was really grateful that I did that. So that was something that I was able to show as part of my efforts on during the next performance review. Once you return to your desk after you get the feedback from your manager, your supervisor, you want to send a high-level summary to your manager in the form of an email and keep it for your records. And also, whatever you do, please make sure that when you do this, you are also updating your resume with your new skills. Update your resume. Because once you get the feedback from your supervisor in terms of whether or not they're going to give you a promotion, so hopefully by this point you are going to get a promotion. More than likely, that will be the possibility that you will get the promotion, because they're seeing all your efforts and everything that you're doing for a year, and you have quantitative results to prove to them what your efforts and your body of work was to help meet goals and exceed goals, which weren't even part of your job description. So if they are smart enough, they will want to retain you as an employee and give you that promotion that you deserve. If they don't, then again, keep building up your resume so that in the event that you say, okay, well, maybe I'll try again next year. If you really want to like the company and you want to stay with the company, that doesn't mean that you have to even stay within that department. But you can be able to have this information and these skill sets as part of your resume so that you can show to the next person, whether it be enter a department, whether it's a different department inside of the company or a whole different company altogether, that's going to value that new skill set that you have. So that being said, just as a recap, the three promotion-worthy strategies, impressive promotion-worthy strategies are, number one, you want to have that discussion with your supervisor about challenging assignments and further leadership development. Number two, implement those problem-solving skills and strategies. Number three, be prepared to address your hard work and feedback in your next performance review to inquire about a promotion. So now that we got that out the way, those three strategies, what are your professional development goals for 2017? For instance, do you want to get a promotion? Some people don't want to do that because it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, especially if you're going into a manager role, because like I said before, a good 75 to 80% of your job is relating to people's character and people's behaviors and their attitudes and, them taking off of work. If there was a deadline that had to be met and this person is one of your best on your team, and now that they're out sick and the deadline, whatever it is due at the following week, How did you handle that at the beginning? Like, were you touching bases with them to see how things were going? Did you have a backup strategy plan? Because anything can happen. Anything can happen. So these are some things that you want to think about in terms of whether or not you, what your goals are for 2017, in terms of if you want a promotion, if you want to take on a higher leadership role, if you want to find a coach or a mentor. A career coach, I should say, or a mentor, because you don't want just any coach. You really want a career coach or someone who is really good with business and professional development. So if you can, whenever you get a chance, type in your goals that your professional goals that you want to see happen in 2017. Now, for those who are on the broadcast, who are viewing me on the broadcast, I have an assignment for you. It's more like a challenge. I want you to write down a list of professional strengths and weaknesses. So for the strengths, you're going to write down how you can use those strengths to better solve different problems in your department at your job. For the weaknesses, you want to write down how you can turn those weaknesses into strengths. For instance, if you're introverted but very passionate about your job and what you do, learn to build confidence to talk about your assignments in meetings and the deadlines and the results from your assignments. If that's a bit much, try joining something like a Toastmasters speaking program to help build confidence, or like a leadership program. Those are the ones that kind of uncover the root cause of what your weakness is. And sometimes they go all the way back to childhood circumstances. But they are good to identify what's stopping you from getting to that next level. Hey, Mimi D. They are good for helping you to to identify what's stopping you. That's that barrier that's set up from helping you to move forward and dominate in that particular area. Because a lot of times, like I told you yesterday, like I said yesterday in the broadcast, a lot of times the issues that we go through in life as adults stem from what we went through in our prior lives as children. So it could have been something, like I said, as tough as you were bullied, or someone told you that you weren't going to be good enough. So you instead of being assertive, you kind of held on to that, and now you bound to it. So now that you're an adult and you kind of put that somewhere on the back burner, you don't even realize how it's manifesting in your job and how you perform. It's stopping you from being better professionally and personally. So those are type of programs that really help you dig deep into the root cause of some of your weaknesses. So by the way, I've already created an online course for those who want to get started establishing their own businesses. Again, I talk about entrepreneurship all the time, but I have a course that I created in the Teachable program that is like a 4-week course to talk about how you could start the ways to start your own business as a mother. So if you want to, I can give you that. It's the bit.ly link, which is, let me see, bit.ly/2H2CNGM. And I'll type that in right now. So give me 1 second. I don't know if I could do that. Maybe I can. Maybe I could do that here. Can I do it? No. So I don't know how to do it from here. So what I'll do is when it's over, when the broadcast is over, I will put the link in. Oh, maybe I can. Yay. So here's the link. Oh, you got all this fancy stuff and it still doesn't work. And it's not letting me type because I've seen someone else type while they were in the chat. Here we go. bit.ly/2H2CNGM. So I'll type again, bit.ly/2H2CNGM. So those are the links that I have established for those who are interested in opening their own business. I mean, I tell you, I always tell people, if you are working right now, if you have a 9-to-5 job with benefits and you want to start your own start your own business. Start your own business. I never suggest stopping one and starting the other. I would suggest for people who are really just tired of their job, they're really sick and tired of it, and they're ready to just get out on their own, they're ready to get started with their own business, In the meantime, think about right now your corporate America job or your government job that you have. Think about it going in every day as a means to an end. You have to transform your thinking. You have to start thinking of it as, this is something that's going to get me from point A to point B. This is something that's going to help to fund the business that I'm going to create. Okay, you have to think of it that way, because if you go in every day like, oh, I can't stand this job, I have trouble on Sundays and I can't get up on Mondays, and you in tears on the train, or you need that gospel music to help you to get going on Monday mornings. I mean, you do not want to go in with that mindset, because it's going to cause you stress. It's going to cause all types of problems down the road. If you just shift your mindset into thinking that I'm going to go in now every day saying, I praise God for this job, because this job is going to be a means to an end for me to start my company. Think of it that way, because you're going to need those benefits. You're going to need that money. You're going to need them starting funds to help you with establishing that business. So that is a course that I have for all those who, and please share with your friends. Share with your family, anybody who you know that's interested in opening their own business and starting from scratch, or those who have their own business and they're struggling. They're struggling with getting clients. They're struggling with figuring out promotion and marketing techniques, branding techniques, all kinds of things. That is a very good foundational course that will help you from the very beginning to the very end. So that's all I have for right now. I am also in the process of creating a leadership program for those who, as part of this particular broadcast, creating a leadership program to put on Teachable to help people with the same information that I just gave you, but more information on strategies to help you be promoted in corporate America. So stay tuned for the final topic tomorrow, which is going to be centered around relationships. And the title will be How to Stand in the Gap for Your Man. That's How to Stand in the Gap for Your Man. I'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Until next time, stay fabulous.